Did you watch the MTV TV and Movie Awards last night? Again, they were on MTV. When's the last time, by the way, you watched MTV? It's like really only for these award shows. Which
yeah, I haven't turned on since they stopped showing music videos, which was like 100 years ago.
And
I
TRL,
watch TV too.
when TRL went out,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was
Supposedly it's coming back.
Well, so was my Sweet 16,
Yeah.
which I saw promos for during the award show. But go ahead, Cornelia. What's the story this morning?
Right, so MTV Awards last night, but MTV decided to go into a more gender neutral format where categories including actors are now for men and women. So Emma Watson won for Beauty and the Beast in the category of Best Actor in a Movie, but this has sparked a lot of debate. Some people on one side saying, oh, good for them, and some people are on the other side saying this makes no sense. We don't want to do it. So most of the categories, including actors, are Best Hero, Best Host, Best Villain, Best Actor in a Show, Best Actor in a Movie. And there are more categories. Again, those are just some. But it opens up the conversation. Is this the way to go? Or is this just something that MTV is doing? And however, I do want to point out, are we even sure that they're going to keep doing this, or is this just a one-time thing?
I tweeted them this morning asking that very question. I don't know if this is something they're going to bring back next year or not, but the way that they made a mark this year is because they made history doing it. So even if they don't do it again, I think that they've made a huge way for themselves, because I wasn't really thinking about MTV before the story.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's back to that politically correct feeling where you feel like, men and women should be in an equal playing field in 2017, and we shouldn't have to identify as, well, you're the only female who can win this award and you're the only male who can win it. I do agree that we should be seen as equals, but with that said, there are male-specific roles in movies where there isn't a woman counterpart who plays a significant part in that particular film. So when I think about some films that are, I don't know, maybe it's because I want more categories, because I do think there are amazing men and women featured in roles these days where you can celebrate both of them, and it's okay that there were two separate films with two leading cast members that were male and female.
Yeah, and let's really look at Hollywood. Now, if you have a category where the men and women are combined, one, it's been known or said in Hollywood that the media roles sometimes go to men and not really to women. There are usually more roles for men than there are for women. So if this is going to create a situation where the categories, it's like 16 dudes in a category and 2 women, then you're really going to have to open up the dialogue and the conversation to say, okay, so if we're going to have these gender neutral categories, then we need to have equal amount of roles and quality roles for everybody. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is going to start a big thing, because if you talk to any woman in Hollywood, she'll tell you the roles, men versus women, it's totally different.
It is totally different.
Totally
Yeah,
different.
I mean, I look at this. I love award shows. I live for award shows, especially award show season. So I like seeing all the different categories, because then you can easily depict when you're looking at a film and at a series of films, right? And the women, the lead roles, or the supporting roles, or males in the lead roles, males in the supporting roles. And it's easier for me to differentiate between the performances if they're all kind of in one category. I'm all about women and men being treated equally. I really am. But when it comes to award shows, I don't think it's necessarily necessary in those categories to make them genderless. I think it makes it a little bit more confusing. But I think it's just something that is new, and the more I continue to see it, and if it makes an impact in Hollywood, I'm not an actress. I don't know what it's like to be competing on that level for roles that could be given to a man or a woman, and then to see men get those roles time and time again. Yeah, that feels like such a defeat, I'm sure. So I think maybe this is more for Hollywood. I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe.
To help change the casting versus help change the viewer?
Well, if you look at the MTV Awards, the categories and people who won, they're a little new age. So for Best Kiss, Dina even pointed this out. It was the winners were the 2 young men from the movie Moonlight. So MTV Awards usually flow in a non-traditional setting. The categories are younger, the nominees are younger. It's just a different vibe. Yeah. So it's easier for them to kind of move in this direction and say, we're going to do this. We're going to push the envelope. Yeah. But then when you talk about traditional Hollywood and traditional Academy Awards and Golden Globes, I don't see this being a discussion because there's so many other things that need to happen before we even get to that.
Yeah.
It goes back to
Yeah.
the casting and who's behind the
Yeah.
scenes, even in those auditions to cast, and
Right.
is the diversity on that panel
Yeah.
before it even gets to this category of award. Is that even fair?
Now, I will say just a quick side note, and if this is too industry talk, I'm sorry, but for the television Emmy Awards every year for television news personalities, they don't have a best female television anchor and a best male television anchor.
Yeah.
They have it combined, and it is just best anchor, best meteorologist, best sports person,
Right.
and then it's men and women combined in the same categories for everything. And when I first saw that, I thought, well, that's not fair. How am I going to be up against somebody who's a male who is seen differently by his peers? But at the end of the day, I think, it just depends on the person judging. I think that it depends, for the people from the outside looking in, if you want to see someone succeed on an awards platform, what is that really saying? I mean, they can still be a great actor or an actress, and having the award, it's just more for the formality, But I think that we put a lot of weight on who's getting these awards these days, and does it really define these people as actors and actresses? I don't know, maybe in the Hollywood industry talk sort of way, it does. But as a viewer, I'm not bothered by it. So if they want to keep it separate, I'm okay with that.
All right.